Yo, what is up guys? So today we are going to be going over how to get high kill games in Apex Legends, but we're also going to be kind of coaching myself here and telling you guys mistakes and other things that you can improve upon. But anyways, first off, to get a very high kill game, I'm talking 20 and 30 bombs, you need to be dropping in very hot areas. And I'm not talking about just the hot spot that's on the minimap, but I'm talking about areas that have a lot of potential for players to go. Over here in the gameplay you guys are seeing, we're going to drop over 30 squad kills. That's everyone combined. But that's more than half the players in the lobby. In fact, even if you get 30 kills, that's still more than half, because remember, you and your squad count as 3 of the players in the 60 players that are in the game. But anyways, like I said, you're going to be needing to drop hot in certain areas that you can go to, because sometimes you won't have the options to go for some of these areas. It definitely has a little bit of RNG. You can't drop like 30 bombs every game, obviously, no matter how good you are, because sometimes the zone will not favor it. Okay, now this zone is actually pretty good. Let me explain why. So, like I mentioned before, you have to drop into hot areas, meaning where more people will go. This could be an option right here, alright? So, the 2 areas that will always have a lot of players, unless it's super far out, like for example, look where the ship is going, alright? If it was to say go into Slum Lakes, that's a very far and out of position area for you to get a lot of kills, right? But in this instance, it was Repulsor. And on top of that, the ship actually moved from right here all the way to over here, and it actually shows you where the ship will go. You can jump on the ship before it actually lands, and that's what we did. We dropped off, probably landed somewhere around here, and then by that time the ship had probably gone about here, and then we just dipped off the ship and went straight into market, okay? And the areas that are hot, that are dictated by the RNG of the game, are going to be over here next to Bunker and Repulsor. That's random. We have no control over that. That was lucky, okay? Now, in addition to that, the hot spots that you want to drop in, if you want to get a lot of kills, are going to be Cascades, Bunker, Bridges, and Market. Why? Because these are what are considered the 4 inner areas of the game, okay? The other areas like Skulltown, Water Treatment, Repulsor, Hydro Dam, Swamps, everywhere else, okay? These are in the inside, okay? Everything else over here is what's considered on the outside, okay? Generally in a game that's Battle Royale, the circle will definitely, at least the first ones, will be towards the center of the map, majority of the time. That's again working off of a random number generator. We have no control over that. So I want to just say as a heads up, it's kind of random and you do have to get kind of lucky. But in addition to these areas, okay, that I'm mentioning, in Apex Legends, unlike other Battle Royales, you can hear gunshots quite often, and you can hear them from super far away. For example, Repulsor over here is another hotspot. From the rotation on Repulsor, okay, let's say this is someone else's first drop. Instinctively, they are going to more than likely go towards this direction. Or they can go Repulsor, then Hydro Dam, and then, let's say, go to Bridges or Market because they'll hear gunshots as a third option, okay? This is the team that we want to actually be pushing in some sort of direction towards us. There will be multiple teams, and teams that don't get items on the ship, which is something that you guys just saw happen, is they're going to drop immediately. Market's already in what I would consider a very populated area. And then on top of that, you have the people that didn't get guns on the ship. You want to be able to kill people, obviously, before they get weapons, just like any other Battle Royale. But the drop is really important, that's why I had to pause it there. But I'll also pause and mention other things later in the video, because again, I want to basically explain how to get these higher kill games and go over mistakes that a lot of people make when they're trying to go for these high kill games. But in the very beginning, play as aggressive as possible. Don't even really bother healing up too often. I'm talking about the very first fights where there's people that might have no weapons at all. The reason why is if you die, whatever, just reset anyways. Okay, that's just the nature of Battle Royales. But you can see my teammate popped the smoke, really helped us secure being able to grab that Peacemaker. And in the early stages of the game, the Peacekeeper is actually very strong, as well as the EVA 8. Those are probably the strongest guns in the game. The reason why is because they generally will have enough ammo, okay? And a lot of times when it comes down to being able to reload, sometimes people just don't have either the ammo or they just didn't land their shots, so you can finish off people quite easily. In fact, I would say for most people, the EVA 8 would be one of the most ideal early game weapons, especially against like even level 1 armor. It's just usually just better. By the way, you can, however, jump on top of that. You just have to hit the lip of the door, and you can actually get up it. Or I could have technically, since I'm playing Pathfinder here, I could have used that as well. But as far as heroes, what heroes would be good for getting high kill games? The most aggressive characters in the game, I would say, are definitely Wraith as well as Bangalore. Pathfinder, you can kind of play a little bit aggressive with him, but the thing is that if you're going to be fighting teams back to back, the most ideal heroes are definitely going to be Bangalore as well as Caustic, surprisingly, because you can really deny a lot of area and you can force teams to kind of back off, or just try to fight in your position when you have constant waves of people going out. In this gameplay over here, there's not a constant barrage of enemies right now, but there will be engagements where you guys will see where if I just threw a bunch of caustic gas canisters, it would be very difficult for a lot of people to be willing to push into those. Although you can definitely fight through it, but it does make people less interested in pushing. But don't worry too much about your team composition if you want to get high kill games. However, I do want to admit, like I said before, that Bloodhound has that option to be able to see footprints in which direction a team moved in. But if you're dropping hot anyways, you don't really need to see where they would rotate to, because you're going to be killing them there, and then on top of that, they're going to be moving more likely towards you, and you won't really have to search out too often. If you're able to obviously clean up the entire team. But sometimes you'll get one of those players that just runs off, like their teams are down, he'll just run forever. And at that point, yeah, it could be an option to run Bloodhound and be more effective. But don't worry too much about team composition. So we're going to be engaging, again, back to back. Over here, really important thing. You can see both of my teammates had purple armor. And when my teammate goes down, my first instinct is not to go res them. In fact, that's the last thing that you want to do if you're trying to go for these high kill games, is immediately go for a res. Go for the kills first. You can res them later. Don't worry about it. And a lot of times, because you can hear gunshots from super far away, it's sometimes okay to loot up before rezzing your teammate if you feel like there's going to be another team that pushes you really fast. You can see, in fact, one of my teammates is splitting up. If you want to go for these high kill games, you're going to need to split up. You'll see time and time again on the minimap where we are kind of split up. We're definitely trying to hear those gunshots, and then once someone hears gunshots, what we try to do is move in. In fact, the gameplay that you guys are seeing is over 30 kills. It's 34 total squad kills. In fact, this was the world record not too long ago by Shroud. He actually had the 34 kill game, and we got one too, but the record has now changed. But it's not easy. Again, there is some luck that is involved, because it depends not only on like how many teams are fighting you at once. Sometimes you just get pinched, you get unlucky, right? But there are other times where like the zone just doesn't favor you. The zone can move out in super far opposite direction, but you can see over in the minimap where the zone is. But over here, since I don't have level 3 armor, I'm going to be more passive. I'm going to go ahead and put some shots onto people, and this is one thing you need to kind of take note of. For example, the Peacekeeper can hit for 165 if all the pellets land in the head, not counting if you have a helmet. But because of that, I could basically die in one shot. Here's a great little tactic. My teammate's engaging. I'm going to go ahead and go for the high ground in the off chance that he's dying. He's playing really aggressive, and it's great. He has the higher level armor. He can play a little bit more aggressive than I can. So I'm basically just trying to go to the high ground, and he cleaned it up anyways, so it was totally cool. But had he went down there, we would have cleaned up anyways. You definitely want one player to play super aggressive. Although I would not really recommend Lifeline for the one that's playing super aggressive. The players that I think can play the most aggressive are definitely Wraith and Bangalore. Bangalore due to the passive for getting extra movement speed if you get shot at. Now keep in mind, you don't actually have to get shot. You can completely just get shot at, meaning they're missing their shots. And then on top of that, Wraith can alert you if someone is actually targeting you. And in addition to that, she has the ability to obviously make the portal, and she can kind of get out. So that's definitely what you kind of want to look for. But again, since I don't have that higher level armor, I can't play as aggressive because, again, you could just get one pumped. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and move towards the outer edges of the ring. That's also another tactic that you can do if you want to get more kills, is basically just circle around the outside of the rings, because people will be obviously pushing in. But since we're in the center, and in this game you can hear really easily where the enemies are coming from, as far as not only footsteps, but also gunfire. So over here you can see my teammate has engaged an enemy. I'm going to go ahead, and I was going to go straight to the high ground, but since I'm doing this as live com, I don't have the audio on, but he says there's a guy under, okay? When there's someone under, okay, you can actually still mantle. But he called someone else that was under, he finished off the guy that was under, there's a guy behind the tree. Another important thing, as soon as I saw that guy behind the tree, he was crawling, I didn't thirst him, alright? Next up, we see a guy over here. I'm going to go ahead and push some shots in. Unfortunately, Potato hit him for 33. Now, I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but there's a player right here, okay? Now, instinctively, since he's going in this direction, he's probably not going to just go over here, alright? So my first instinct at this point, since my teammate right here has no shields, I'm only at 2, it's a little risky if I just go straight over there, because my teammate might be healing up, right? So at this point, this player is either going to use this as cover or walk straight over here. It's very rare that he'd be running in this direction and going over here. So basically, he's got kind of 2 options. And so what I'm going to do is I'm instantly going to see that, and that's a different set of players. That's another squad. So even though it looks like there's one, you never know. Over here, I'm reloading my shotty in case he pushes, and he is actually further back. So I'm going to go ahead and swap to my Hemlock to kind of deal with him at range. There's an ult that's called, and I'm like, okay, let's just go ahead and get inside since we did a good amount of damage to him. His team is probably pushing. I wanted my teammates to be able to heal up. And we kind of got this scenario right here where you see my teammate Fallen Angel over there. He can kind of help pinch some of the players if they push me and Zaro King. So my teammate actually gets knocked down. An important thing also is don't panic when someone comes up to you with a shotgun to swap to something, because a lot of times, especially in this instance, look how much damage we took from just that one shoddy hit. If I had tried to swap to my Peacekeeper, I would have definitely gotten knocked down, and I wouldn't have knocked him at the same time. So just keep that in mind as well. So my teammate decides to throw a smoke nade. My other teammate here is doing something really important. He's sitting by the door, and if anyone opens up the door, he's going to close it immediately, because certain doors in this game, they're going to swing open. Certain other doors will open up in different ways, and what that allows you to do is basically just make it so they can't go in. Now, doors in the game, you can actually just fully body block, because how doors open up in Apex Legends is they always swing outward. So if I was to sit there right next to some of the doors, like that, basically the doors that you just can push open versus these larger doors over here, you can actually hold down the door entrance by just sitting there. They can, however, break the door. That is another option. You can nade the door too. But you can see there's players over there. I lay a good amount of shots into a guy. I hit him for 54. The other guy, Daro, I remember he called out. I hit a guy for like 80 or something. It was like 80 or 90 in this one. And so instantly, I'm putting my zip line over here. Okay, so I'm like, okay, let's push. You know, the guy's backing off right here, right? I see a guy over here, and this is something very important to actually mention. This is more something specifically to Pathfinder, but you don't want to zipline directly towards someone because it makes you a very easy target. Instead, if I was to go at an angle, it would be more advantageous. But getting on a zipline, it's a lot more difficult to land your shot, so you're going to see what I do over here is I'm going to put some shots into the guy behind the tree, okay? And that's going to allow me to obviously deal some damage before I go into the zipline. I end up cleaning up the kill. The Hemlock is actually a pretty good longer range weapon compared to some of the other weapons that just have too much recoil to deal with for most people. But we end up getting the high ground. We're totally okay on this. I'm going to go ahead and just shield up. I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward this short little bit. I'm going to fast forward what I would consider the boring parts, unless of course there's something to mention. Like I mentioned before, and I mentioned this in other videos, if you have level 1 armor and you know that you just killed someone that had armor, you can instantly, just don't repair your armor, just pick up theirs. It'll give you full armor, unless the armor was from one of your teammates that had swapped it out. That's the only exception. If you kill someone and they have armor, it will give you full armor. It doesn't matter if you dealt damage to it. That's just a quick little tip here. So anyways, we're just healing up. In fact, I don't really feel like we got really good value out of the lifeline here as far as the healing drone, because that does take quite a bit of time. As you guys know, if you're going to try to drop higher kill games, you don't want to be sitting too often. He's healing up right now, popped from shield, so he's getting heals out of it himself. But me and my teammate over here, we're pushing, alright? We're definitely trying to get as many kills as possible, because the ring is going to be moving in pretty soon here. We need to kind of course, close the distance on certain areas. Okay, so like I mentioned before with Pathfinder, so we laid 86 shots, and this might have been the time where he hit for 80 or 90. Like I said, it might have been the other one that was 89. But remember, he had hit someone for a lot. At this point, alright, what my thought process is, because there shouldn't really be anyone behind us, because remember recently we had actually just basically were right here in the bunker at the bottom healing up. If there was another team, more than likely they would have pushed before that, because the time is coming out. They could have maybe came in from this angle too. That would have been another option. So we got to push this in this direction, which is this way, okay? Now, I had put some damage into a player over here, and my teammate said he damaged someone for a decent amount. So what I did is I decided to go ahead and throw the zip line. Now, this doesn't have to deal with just the zip line, but running in a straight direction is always just bad in general in the game. What I should have done over here is actually ziplined over here, got the high ground. But my thought process was, if I damage someone for a decent amount and my other teammate damaged someone for a decent amount around here, their first instinct is to go inside and heal up. But there are windows, and you have to be aware of that. And this is where I want to criticize and coach myself and say, you know, this was a bad thing to do. You can see he decided to go by the balcony or window, and I actually took a bunch of damage. My teammate realizes this, instantly smokes, gets me back up. I really feel like in this instance, it could be arguable that he should have just went for the kills, but because they would more likely be healing up anyways, I decided, oh, okay, that's fine, just go for the res. Because when I get knocked down, when you're playing with randoms, I'm sure a lot of you guys notice this, when people go down, the first instinct is to spam, get me up, and the thing is you can't. You can't. That's a bad idea if you're in the middle of a gunfight to try to pick someone up. Even if you're Bangalore, you can smoke and then try to pick up. It's not really worth it. Here's another great little tip, okay? If you're climbing up, you can see I climbed up and then I jumped backwards, okay? That lets me just peek and then immediately be able to... you can see I canceled the animation of myself fully climbing up. Now, in that instance right there, I was trying to climb up, but there's a little lip. But it's because my teammate had just finished off the last kill. But you don't have to fully commit. Even if the animation starts for you to climb up on the ledge, you can actually just jump backwards, and what it'll do is it'll make it so you can basically just avoid that mantle animation, and you can maybe get a shot out. It's basically just kind of like peek shooting, like you would in any FPS, but it's just like over a ledge. But anyways, my teammate did get knocked down, so we're gonna go ahead and res him. Now in this instance, there was a team that did shoot kind of near us, so I'm rushing to get this res off, and I don't need to use that thing as cover. What I mean by that thing, the little respawn beacon, as cover, because as you guys can see over here, the mini-map shows that my teammate right here is behind me, okay? If anyone was to push behind me, because I'm using this as cover from this and this angle a little bit, right? If there was a team to push me, I would still have it as cover. I didn't go around it. If there was people that were potentially shooting me, I probably wouldn't just go for the res anyways, because I would try to deal with them. But if any shots get fired, my teammate will take damage before I do. So, therefore, I don't need to use that as cover. Just a quick little extra tip there. But the most important thing with this whole video as far as how to get more kills is definitely like the drop, but we're going to go ahead and commentate all of it because there's a lot of things that I think are good in this video that I can mention. And I also want to do like a coaching series on this game because a lot of people had asked me, you know, hey, I'm not able to get like, you know, higher kill games, and I can definitely tell you why. Sometimes it's random though, I will admit. Majority of games will end up with a 15 kill like squad. That's just the nature of how this game works, is that's the amount of times that I've played this game, is unless you're like splitting like super hard. You can see right now we're going back together to get his loot, okay? Because basically this is a 2v3 if he doesn't have anything and we have to basically fight again. But we're gonna go ahead and loot up, and don't mind the storm too much. But the thing is that you don't really want to stay like in the storm. But I'm saying is like you can go in the storm and grab some stuff. It's totally an acceptable thing to do. But more likely there will not be players in the storm. And over here you can see over in my top right that giant beam of light. That's where a drop is. And so usually there will be people that not only look at the drop, but will also be going towards the drop to obviously get some loot. So we're going to go ahead and go over there. I think at one point in the video we started dropping the ultimate accelerator charges. The characters that you really want to try to give the ultimate accelerators to definitely are going to be Lifeline as well as Bloodhound. Bloodhound if you're trying to like just find out where people are, because you can see those footprints, as well as you're able to move faster, and on top of that you can see people from pretty much super far away with just a scope. And you can see over here. And here's another little tip. You see I see him, but I don't shoot him immediately. I tell my teammates he's over here, let's try to shoot him at the same time. I think what happened was one of my teammates saw someone else, and one of the other teammates was actually grabbing the loot over here. He ends up grabbing a 50 cal, which is the crabber. And you can see over here, during the time that I was looking at my opponent, alright, this is a very good little extra tip. So he was looking in this direction, which means there could be people super far over here, right? Or it could have technically been in this house, but it's a very strange angle, so more than likely they were super far away. That's where he was looking. Maybe he heard gunfire because we're too far away and we couldn't hear it, alright? This little rock here, let's go ahead and zipline straight without worrying about these people. These people just went in the house. Yes, you could argue that they could come right back out, but more than likely his plan right here was to instantly heal. Sometimes, depending on the door, the windows will be in different locations, so keep that in mind. So I'm going in a straight line here. Like I mentioned before, I have that side of like the rock to block, and over here the other guy went in. And a lot of these houses, they'll have these openings in like the middle where you can just go ahead and infiltrate really easy. And since we got a bunch of damage, I can push in and not have to worry too much about like one person camping and absolutely getting obliterated by them, and then having like another person camp, because sometimes that can happen, right? And we also saw that there was a Bloodhound that popped her ability to reveal the area. And you can also hear Bloodhound's ultimate. It's like a roar, but yeah, you can definitely hear that. So now what we're doing is we're kind of pushing. You can see one of my teammates is running further up to the right. Like, you really got to split up to hear the gunshots, okay? I'm not saying split up so far away that you guys are on opposite sides of the map, but if you want to kill more than half the lobby, you have to play aggressive. And that's kind of the key thing to take away. Earlier in the game, we were kind of sitting a little bit further back because we didn't have the armor, but now we've all got max armor. There's technically gold armor, but gold armor, guys, just as a heads up, does not improve damage mitigation, meaning that someone with purple armor is the same as gold armor. The only difference is with gold armor, if you do a finisher on someone, it will regenerate all of your health. There's an official tweet by a Respawn dev that I will actually pin in the comment section below if you guys want more proof, that he even tweeted out and said that it does not actually change how much damage they actually receive. So important thing over here, we see a airdrop over here. We're gonna go towards it, and I'm gonna look around, okay? This is really important. Don't go just straight to the drop. Look around, see if there's anyone. I ping that and say, like, you know, we can maybe check out that area after we go ahead and go for this loot. You can see my teammates are pretty far spread apart, and I'm just here looking for more people. As soon as something goes wrong, I'm gonna instantly pop to the high ground. My teammates end up hearing some gunfire, so they immediately engage, and at this point, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go ahead and wait over here to go ahead and grab this. The crabber is actually really insane. If there was a crabber, or the mastiff, which is the shotgun, I would feel pretty comfortable with solo pushing. Unfortunately, there was not one over here. So they end up cleaning up this fight. Important thing, yes, I'm aware I could use my grapple and go right to the top. But in this instance, they've already finished off all of the kills here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump down, land on the zipline. You can't do that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and get into a position over here where I can see people that would be in the north area. But we're going to go ahead and check out, see if there's any more loot. I probably shouldn't have looted here. This is a small mistake. Those are small little like things that you can improve upon. Obviously, I'm giving you guys the suggestions here. But important thing, all right? Look how many squads are in the top right. There's only 2 squads left, which is our team and another team. At this point, we should not be spreading out at all, okay? I even mentioned this during my stream when we were playing live. One of my teammates was just sitting out in the open. He had a sniper, but what people can do is they can all target someone and they can go 1, 2, 3, fire. And if they had a longbow, instant 100-0. Technically, you only need 2 if you had the little mod, the operator mod on it. But my teammate ends up just throwing out an ult here just to kind of see if there was someone over there, because he had said, I got 5 ultimate accelerators, so obviously you just pop all of them and you'll get your ult again. But he was just trying to look for him. That's what we're trying to do at this point. I really shouldn't have been pushing out. This is a huge mistake from me that you'll see. And you'll see the price that we paid in a moment here. But the thing is that when it's just one-on-one or even 3 squads left, you want to wait for the other squad to engage. If you want the win. This is more for winning than pushing for high kills. But at this point, there's no reason to push. We have the high ground, and at this point we have... Everyone has max armor. There's no point in like looking for extra loot at this point, unless of course there is the Mastiff or the Kraber Sniper. You can see over here. Okay, this is something that I even mentioned. I mentioned to my teammates, these are open, and you'll see over to my left there will be other chests that are open. But why is this door right here closed? All right. Well, let's go ahead and find out. So I notice, I'm like, okay, why is this door closed? All of these chests are open. It's very strange that this one door right here is closed, right? And I'm like, all right, it's probably a team camping here. I'm going to bust out the shotgun. But look at where my teammates are on the map. And you're thinking, oh, you're going to get 3v1 in this room. Okay, hold on. I'll open up. All right, we're good. They're not in here. That's very strange. And I start just looking for more people to kill. And I also feel like a lot of the teams that are very scared to like fight, like when we fought that other team, I expected to fight another team. Because a lot of times what players will do when there's 3 squads left, as soon as one team is engaging, the other team will just try to go and just basically clean up. So my teammate marks that he's like, yo, we've basically looked all around the map. Because they had the high ground, they were looking all over here, they didn't see him, and he's like, okay, they've got to be right here. And at this point, I'm like, okay, they're probably inside this building, maybe on the high ground. We can go around over here and kind of check it out. But watch what happens over here, alright? So, look where my teammates are on the map. We're kind of spread apart. Again, at the very end, wait with your teammates if you have the higher position. I instantly see him. Like, watch. Okay, let me bust this out so you can see the time frames before we even get shot. So, we're at 1903 right here in the video time frame. But, if we go over here, I still haven't taken damage. It's 1904, and we deal 36 damage. There's multiple people camping behind that rock. And from 904 to like 906, I think is what like the exact frames were. But, okay, so we're getting shot. Okay, so pretty much at 906. So in 2 seconds, people always complain about the time to kill. But when there's multiple people shooting at you, I'm already down. And at this point, you don't want to go for a res, okay? And I obviously marked out, okay, the whole team was camping behind a rock, okay? Like, these kids, they probably don't make it to the very end, you know, like, there's that many people sitting right behind, like, one rock. Like, I don't know what their strat was, okay? They should have been, like, you know, one person maybe on the high ground, but when you're too close, and they were out in the open a little bit, they end up throwing down their ult on me because they're like, they didn't want me to get the res, but it's fine, it doesn't really matter, because I don't think it's advisable for you to res at the very end. Like, when you're at the very end, when you end up dying, it's totally fine, you know, you're still going to get the dub, don't worry, but that was a mistake that I kind of made at my end, and I paid for it. But the thing is that don't try to res at the very end. In fact, don't res until the teammates, or you basically cleared up the enemy team. Important thing, one of my teammates over here had knocked down another teammate on the other team. He actually gets knocked too. The other guy, his first instinct, my teammate knocked down, let me go res him. Don't do this! Like, it takes a while to res. He actually gets shot at over there. He actually cleans up that guy that was knocked. He lays some shot on this guy. This is a really ballsy move. He reloads the sniper and finishes off the game. But you guys can definitely see how to kind of play a little bit more aggressive. Like I said, the most important thing is to actually be aware of those hotspot zones. But there it is, guys, a 34 kill squad game. That's including all of us. And like I mentioned before, and I mentioned in a lot of my other videos, sometimes you'll see people that don't do much damage, but they're actually doing a lot more. Like, for example, there was a time, you can see the 34 kills. We did 1,000 damage, he had 2.5, he had 1.7. But sometimes one person that even does 30 damage to someone basically had the kill. And what I mean by that is that if I shoot someone, sometimes people, they get shot once, they gotta be at full shields, right? And they instantly, their instant reaction is to go shield, and then they're popping a shield, and they will still, while they're getting shot, just try to pop that shield. Because, okay, another important, like, other tip is that if you're using a shield that heals you for 100, let's say you have 25 shields, you can take, like, the extra shot, it doesn't matter, right? Because the shield's gonna heal you for 100 shields anyway. So, there are times where it's okay to take that damage, but obviously they're getting more damage in that instance, right? But there's also times where I put myself in a position, let me go ahead and show you a good example of that, is where we actually threw down the zip line to get the high ground. If my teammate was to say, let's say go down in this fight right here, right? So let's go back like 1 second here. And so you can see my teammate's engaging, okay? If this fight, in any reason, didn't go right in our favor, right? Because he's fighting, all of them are down here. There's two right here, and there's one right there. My teammate's on the high ground. He can shoot anyone that's over here. I get to this high ground over here. I can shoot anyone that's down there, and it really creates a problem because our teammate also threw down the smoke to actually give us some more time, because sometimes you got to work together as a team. This is definitely a team-based game, and when you have even one player that's not very good, it's hard to bust and get killed more than half the lobby. It's not something I think is easy. I ended up dropping further, or I should say earlier than intended with the entire zip line, because my teammate was like, yo, there's a guy over here, so I didn't need to go all the way up because he was behind the rock on the bottom. But anyways, like I said, the most important thing with this video, honestly, is going over the zones. And I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up the video right now and just basically mention the zones one more time really quick. But also wanted to mention, if you guys want to be coached, I wanted to start some video series on this channel as far as, like, you know, what to improve upon, why you're dying, basically coaching. And I basically coached myself on, especially the zip lines, I noticed that, where I was going in straight lines. But important things to take away from this video: the hot zone. If this is close to any of these, okay, in this instance, the ship moved from over here to this way and it landed here. These are the hot zones. We got lucky. Repulsor was relatively close by. The ship was close by. And Cascades, Bunker, Bridges, and Market are all the spots that have high potential, because what happens when people go, let's say, to Relay Wetlands? It's this way. All right, Relay, they have to go this way. Wetlands, I guess they can push swamps, but the thing is the swamp players are going to go over here. So keep in mind, or the swamp player can go over here. There's really no point to go from wetlands to swamps. Like, it really doesn't make any sense unless you have, like, no weapons or whatever the case may be. You respawn a teammate, you can maybe pick off the weapons that people don't want. Like, you can maybe get the Moza, or like you can get, like, the weapons, again, that people generally don't want in the game. But realizing where people would push to is really great. I mean, the whole game we spent in this area, and that's the key spot if you want to get those high kill games. But anyways, hopefully this video helped you guys out and improved your gameplay, game sense, all of that stuff. And if you guys are new to the channel and would like to see more Apex Legends guides, as well as how to get more kills and all the kind of stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you'll definitely be notified when I upload more. And like I said, if you guys want me to coach your gameplay, prefer the video to be 1080p 60 FPS, go ahead and drop a YouTube video of it uploaded already, and I will go ahead and make a video on make you a better player individually, but also showcasing up, you know, mistakes that you're making. Because I definitely made mistakes. We still got the dub. Still a 34 kill game. Very high indeed. In fact, like I said before, this was actually the original world record not too long ago that Shroud had held. But anyways, I think it's like, the last time I checked it was like 39, but it might be at 40 something now. But anyways, to get those high kill games, there's a little bit of luck, I will admit that. But if you guys want to submit your gameplay, hop into the Discord. There's an Apex Legends section. Just post your gameplay, and we'll go ahead and coach it. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Have a good one. And I'm signing out.